Today we're making an all-American favorite. Going to start with a half cup of all-purpose flour. Next up we got 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now we're going to add a 1/4 cup of white sugar, just granulated. We're just going to mix all these dry ingredients together. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. A fork will do just fine. Want to make sure both of those sugars and the flours come together super well, combined really smoothly. Get a really good mix going with something like that. This is going to make up the topping for our pie today. So we're just going to make sure that all this is blended really well before we add a little bit of natural adhesive to it, just to make sure that everything sticks together very well. Beautiful. Now, the next thing we're going to add is going to be just 4 tablespoons of butter. I've cut it up into smaller pieces. The recipe says we want to put it in there and then use our fingers to mash it together with these dry ingredients to make sort of like a crumbly texture. So I think the easiest way to do it is just to use your fingers with it, as like to just sort of like go in from the outside, almost like you would see like those claw machines that you see at the arcades, and fold from the bottom up. I think that's probably going to be the most effective method to make sure that everything gets mixed together very well. You're going to coat all of those little individual chunks of butter, and then you're going to start mashing them all together to make sure that you've got like a coarse crumble type consistency for all of these dry goods as well as that butter coming together. This makes probably my favorite part of the pie, just like in a cobbler. Like, I love the fruit, it's wonderful, but it's always the crust that's the main event. Same with this. The crust is delicious on the pie that we're making today, but this crumble top, oh my goodness, that is really where we love it. So now that we've got this all nice and combined, what we're going to do is just set it aside whenever we finally get all of our ingredients blended really well together and combined. You might want to take just a second to wash your hands before we move on to the next step, okay? Because it can get a little sticky. Next, we're going to take these beautiful pink lady apples, and we're going to core and slice and peel 7 of them. We're going to add a pretty healthy shot of lemon juice. This is what's going to keep our apples from turning brown, especially while we're working with them. Now, we're not going to be working with them out in the air very long. Next, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're going to add just a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and then we're just going to mash it all together in there, okay? Beautiful. So what this is going to do is just coat each one of those individual slices. It goes really quickly. Between the lemon juice and then the sugar, it'll stick really easily. Whenever we get a good coarse coating of that, we're going to move it over to the eye of the stove, okay? Perfect. We're going to cook that with about 2 tablespoons of butter for about 10 minutes until the apples start to soften. And then we're going to fill our graham cracker crust. We just got this at the grocery store. Super easy. If you want to make your own crust, be my guest, but this one does just as well. Now, you see that little puddle of that brown sugary juice? Please don't waste that. Make sure that goes in over the top of your pie, okay? Beautiful. Once you got all your apple inside, go ahead and put on your crumble mixture, okay? Hey, don't be stingy. Make sure you use every little drop of this, because whenever it comes out of the oven, it's going to be gorgeous, okay? So go ahead and pile it up just like you would a sandcastle. Perfect. We've got the oven set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to leave it in there for 55, 60 minutes, so roughly an hour. Just keep an eye on it, okay? You'll smell it. It smells amazing. Speaking of, looks real good too. I wish you'd look at that, how beautiful. Oh my goodness, tell me that doesn't belong on a windowsill somewhere in the 1950s. Whew, eat up, y'all. Love it.